Hi, it's Alex from Green Revolution again. I'm here with the Director of Sustainability at Ramapo College.
Ashwani Vasisht.
And we are really excited because we have the Rocket Composter, which is an in-vessel composter that truly can compost a lot more than your typical compost pile. And I'm gonna start to tour around here, and we're gonna ask the expert here more about this amazing machine. And we're really excited to be here. So, Professor, what are the advantages of having an in-vessel composter like this?
Well, for one thing, it's contained. It's not a pile that you have to turn. It turns itself. You feed in food waste at one end, the compost comes out the other end. So in principle, it's a self-contained unit that just does composting in the through process. In reality, what we found at Ramapo College is that first, we're really glad to have the rocket. It's the linchpin for our food waste handling process.
I love that. It's the linchpin.
Yeah. So, but it's not the only thing that we do.
Right.
We have 2 compost piles at 2 gardens that we have, that we use the residence halls to collect food waste from kitchens where
great.
students cook, and we transport that to the compost piles because they're closer to where the students live. This takes food waste from the pavilion, which is this building here, is a dining facility. And the other main dining facility is over in that direction.
Okay.
Is the Birch Tree Inn. Our dream, and we're working on it, is to reach a point where we are zero waste for food waste.
Zero waste, and that is quite an applaudable and a worthy dream.
Doable.
I mean,
It's
it's doable, realistic at this point.
It's a realistically doable thing.
Yeah.
We would get a dehydrator
Okay.
for this. We would take all the pre-consumer waste out of both dining services and feed it into the dehydrator, and then feed that into the rocket and deal with it that way.
Phenomenal. And just for those people who aren't as familiar with compost as we are, can you take us a step maybe and guide us through the process? Like if we were loading it now, how does this actually work?
Come. So you climb up these steps with a 5-gallon bucket of food waste. You
Okay.
open the hatch, and that's where the food waste goes.
Oh man, so we have live food waste in here right now.
Yep.
All sorts of microbes eating away, and
Yep.
oh, look at that. And these look like we have are these augers or
They are augers,
okay?
and they rotate at a very sporadic, slow rate.
Okay.
Once I close this, I have to make sure that there's a contact in the lid that is well made. And so I press this button here and make sure the motor works, which currently it is not.
Okay.
And that means I have to look at the lid, and this is something you have to do every time. There's a sensor right here. If you take a look at this blue thing here,
Oh yeah, well look at that.
right? That's a sensor that makes contact with this, and if anything gets in the way of that sensor, the rocket will not work.
Gotcha. Okay. So this is high-tech composting at its best. The linchpin of composting. I like that. It's the
I
start.
don't know about high-tech composting at its best.
Okay.
It is one solution
One solution.
to a complex problem, and we work at it from as many different directions as we can to take care of the multiple ways in which food waste is created on this campus.
Right.
No one solution for everything.
Right. So I like you said you had several gardens on campus. You have
We have 2 gardens,
that's phenomenal.
one by an apartment complex here, one
Okay.
by an apartment complex there.
And so some of the food waste is diverted to do your typical composting, sort of.
Right.
You mix your carbon source in and you rotate it by hand.
Rotate the pile by hand,
Okay.
and do all the rest of that.
Okay.
And you get reasonably high quality compost out of it.
Okay.
This thing gives us reasonable compost. We're quite satisfied with it. It gets used either for landscaping or, depending on the need, gets delivered to the gardens for their use.
Which also reduces the cost of Ramapo College to then go out and buy mulch. Maybe not significantly, but eventually maybe it could be.
Yeah. No, it makes a
Right.
difference. It makes us self-contained. and
Okay,
in
right, more
principle, it's a good
self-contained.
thing. Students learn a lot from this process, so in that sense, it's very useful. I'm not sure that there's a huge economic advantage to this.
Okay.
I think it covers its costs,
Right.
so in that sense, it's worth it.
Right.
but that's about as far as I would take.
Because I was wondering too, I was thinking, and I might be a little bit more, green-eyed and idealistic than some, but, perhaps these or similar, composters could not only reduce, the methane emissions and the CO2 emissions, but also reduce the tipping and hauling costs for garbage. So
Tipping and hauling